This is the Zunda channel, where we interview the top and successful players in various professions: cybersecurity, IT, business, farming, politics, religion, health, and any outstanding community achievement. Our guests give us a unique career life journey. This gives us an insider information which inspires and gives direction to the young people in choosing career path. Welcome to Zunda channel. My name is Jack Monga. Relax as we speak to our guest today. But they're too ready. Right. All right. Welcome to Zunda channel. My name is Jackson. Today we are talking to Jubilee, who is our guest on Zunda channel today. Jubilee, welcome to Zunda channel.
Thank you very much.
Now, Jubilee, could you tell me more about your childhood?
So I was born in Zambia, to be specific, in Mazabuka, the southern part of Zambia. I would say I was a miracle baby. When I was born, I was so small. My mom and dad used to live in Lusaka, so my mom had gone to visit my grandma in Mazabuka, in Magoye. That's where my grandma was. And she wasn't full term yet. I think she must have been about 28 weeks when I was born. So, and the night I was born, I was so small, they didn't think I was going to make it. So some of my grandmothers, especially on my dad's side, they were even joking, saying, let's just put that aside. And when we wake up in the morning, she'll be gone. She'll have gone to be with the Lord. We can't trouble somebody who's so small like this. But I have one of my maternal grandma's cousin. She was very passionate about it, and she wrapped me around her body the whole night, and that's how I survived the night. And the following day, they took me to Mazabuka hospital. But then Mazabuka hospital, it's just a Mazabuka district hospital, very small, so they didn't have all the equipment that they needed. So they had to transport me to Lusaka. Unfortunately enough, in Lusaka, that's where mom and dad came from then. My dad was working in Lusaka. My mom was a housewife then. So that's where I was transferred in Lusaka and stayed in the incubator for, I said, over a month or so. So I was very premature when I was born. And that's how I grew up as a baby. That was. And my mom tells me when I was in the incubator, I don't know, I haven't verified this. In Zambia, they don't keep newspapers and so on. But she told me that, that night, some midwife had forgotten to regulate the temperatures for the incubators. So they never used to allow moms in the nurseries. So they would just go and visit in the morning. They'll leave the milk and then they'll go back and come back in the morning. So according to her, that night, the midwife didn't regulate the temperatures. So she said the babies burnt to death. And I was one of the survivors. I don't know what it is. And she used to tease me because I was very darker than my friend, my siblings. Says I was dark because of that.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for that, background about your birth. Now, tell me, when you grew up from the time after you became a baby, you started school, and do you know exactly what was your first primary school that you attended?
Right. So when I could have been maybe 4 or so, they moved. My dad found a job as an accountant, so he moved from Lusaka. I think his first posting was in Bolokoso. That's in northern part of Zambia. So that's why we moved. And I believe my first primary school, my first grade was in Bolokoso. We stayed there for, could say maybe 3 or 4 years. And then we moved to Mansa. Mansa is Kasama, not Mansa. Kasama. It's not far from Bolokoso as well. It's still in the northern part of Zambia. And we stayed there as well. And then we moved to, those days when you were an accountant, they said you shouldn't keep accountants in the same district or company for a long time because they start stealing. So as a result, every 2 years we had to move towns, but within Zambia. So I grew up moving about.
Right.
We moved a lot when we were young. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So I guess you finished the primary school. Could have been in Mansa, or where else did you go to? Where you finished your primary school to going to your secondary school?
Unfortunately, it doesn't in Mansa. So not Mansa, Kasama. From Kasama, we moved to Kitwe. I think we stayed in Kitwe for a year. I'm just saying the ones that I can remember. But then from Kitwe, we moved to Mongo. And then from Mongo, we moved to Kasempa. Kasempa is in Northwestern. When we moved to Kasempa, I must have been in grade 6. There, I remember very well. And from grade 6 and grade 7, I was in Kasempa.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I spent my grade 7 in Kasempa, Northwestern Province.
Okay, so from what I gather is that I think you did your grade 7 at, is it in Kasempa?
Yes, Kasempa Primary School.
Yes, and after that you went to go and do your secondary school at Mukinga Girls Secondary School, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, could you tell us more about your experience at the secondary school, the first time you went there?
Yeah, so Mukinge Girls Secondary School is a boarding school. It is still a boarding school. Even when we went there, it was a boarding school. And it was run by the missionaries when we were there. But I think the government took over now. But when we were there, it was run by the missionaries. So Mukinge Girls Secondary School was one of the schools that was competitive, because we used to have people coming all the way from the Southern Province, Lusaka Province, Copperbelt Province, and saying that although I was from Kasempa, the whole of Kasempa Primary School, the year that I went to secondary school, I think we were just 5 out of the whole group, because it was that competitive. We had lots of people coming from other provinces compared to the people that were within Northwestern Province to get to the school, because it was highly subscribed. And it was a nice school. I went there, must have been about 12, just turning 12 when I went to the boarding school. It was an experience. I'd never left my mom and dad. It was the first time I left my mom and dad and to be, on my own, to start living on my own. Since then, I've never been back home.
Right. Okay. Right. Now, you did your grade 8 to 9, is it, at Kasempa, Mukinga Girls Secondary School. So, I gather whilst you are at Mukinga Girls Secondary School, you lost one of your parents who was actually the key anchor in terms of, your support to, financial support, to the school. Can you give me a little bit of the background there? How did you manage to continue school? And if you can explain exactly what experiences you went through at the time when you heard about the death of your dad.
Right. So when I was in grade, so I went there grade 8, 9, and in grade 9 in September, and we used to write our exams in December. So in August we used to go for a holiday. So we went for a holiday in August, and just before we went back to school in August, my dad passed away, and then I was only 13, 14. I can't remember. And then we had to, obviously, the Tonga tradition that they can't bury anyone anywhere where they don't belong. So they had to transport him from Northwestern to be buried in Mazabuka, where his parents were from. And we had uncles there and other people. So that's where he was taken. Then after that, I had to come back in September to continue my grade 9. And I did the exams in December, and I passed. But whilst I was at school, all the things that we had in Kasempa, they had to be transported back to Mazabuka, where he came from, where his parents were and his brothers and so on. So he had 2 brothers and two biological brothers, but other step brothers as well, and cousins. So they all helped to get the things to take them to Mazabuka. And the council, my dad by then was working for the council, but then he passed away. So they had informed the council that we need to take these things to the village for the kids to use when they come. So the council were very, very helpful.
Mhm.
But then there were those big trucks, we used to call them IFAs, those big ones. So we had 2 of them loaded with all goods, because they managed to convince the council that they were taking them for us. So they took everything to the village, and by then I was still at school. So when they got at the village, unknown to me and my brother was in boarding school as well at Kabompo Secondary School. So my father's relatives and cousins and whatever, they shared all the items that we had, including even our personal things. I still remember my dad had bought me a typewriter because I used to take typing in school. Before the invention of computers, we used to use typewriters. So I had this typewriter, and it was so dear to me. But I never used to go with it at school. Because we had typewriters at school. So I didn't see a need to go with it. So I just used to use it when I'm on holiday. So one of the uncles took it. And when I got home, I went and tried and pleaded with him to say, that's the only thing I will remember my dad for. Just give it to me. And he refused to give it to me. And that was very, very helpful. And, he's late as well, but he never gave it to me. And other things were taken as well, including our own personal a bed, mattresses, even toys for my brother, who was only 2. They all took all those things from us. And so that's where the struggle started. And I passed grade 10. But then there was a struggle between the family. Traditionally, they have to have somebody who's going to be the administrator to look after the family. And each one was fighting for that post. But eventually, the oldest, by nature of being older, was given the role of being an administrator. He had to make his own rules. He made rules on his own. So when it came to funding, because it was a boarding school, so somebody had to fund me. My dad was funding me then. So when I passed grade 10, I went to him and said, oh, I need my money for education to continue. He said, I don't have money. I don't even know where your dad left the money. You can go and ask your mother's side, your mom, and so on. Anyway, he refused to give me the money for grade 10. So my mom provided the money for me the whole of grade 10. And I managed to get to grade 10. By the time I got to grade 11, unfortunately, my mom also died. That was a struggle. When she passed away, we had to live with my uncle on my maternal side, my mom's brother. He wasn't a rich man. He was a farmer. He could manage to feed us. But when it came to school fees, he wouldn't manage. But then my uncles on my father's side still had all the items that they had. Every time we suggested they can sell some things to send us to school, they were not willing. And by then my brother had completed grade 12 before my mom passed away. This thing had finished, and I was in grade 11. And I was told point blank to just stop school because no one is going to support you. Even my uncle from my mom's side also supported them, saying, there's no need to even educate you. You're a woman, you're gonna get married one day, so there's no point of struggling when you can't afford. Just stay at home. So, but I didn't stay at home. I kept fighting.
Okay. That was very sad. Now, I guess I hear your mom passed away whilst you were in a boarding school, and I think it took time for you to know that actually your mom had passed. So can you briefly tell me about your experience? That you went through at that particular time.
Yeah, I think there was a misunderstanding at home when it happened, because the other uncles were thinking the uncle in Lusaka had informed me, and then the uncle who I lived with was also thinking the other person will inform. So they never got together to think who's going to inform about her mom's death. So no one informed me, and mom had friends in Kasempa, where we stayed. Mrs. Mendabai, she was my aunt. She's still my aunt anyway. She was a best friend to my mom. They were like sisters. So one of the relatives, I think she was from Livingstone, she attended the funeral, and then when she went back, she put a mess. Long time ago on radio, there used to be some announcements of funerals.
Right.
She just thought, no, I don't think this girl has heard.
Mm-hmm.
So something just told her to do it. So she put an announcement to say, it's sad to announce that Jenny, has passed away, and she said all the names and so on.
Mm.
So that day, on the Sabbath evening, my aunt, Mrs. Wendawai, was listening to the radio, and she heard. So she was like, this girl hasn't come to tell me about her mom's death. What has happened?
Right.
So then on a Monday, she came to school. And I was so happy to see her, and she knew that something wasn't right. She's like, so she asked me, how's your mom? I said, I think she's fine. She's fine. I haven't received a letter from her so far, but I think everything is fine. He said, oh, that's fine. So she went and said, I need to see your headmaster or one of the teachers. So I said, oh, that's fine. I said, is everything okay? He said, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. I'll come back to you. Just wait there. I waited, and she went to see one of the, I think it was the headmaster, and said, we think she hasn't heard. Her mom passed away about almost 2 weeks ago. We only heard on announcement. So we haven't received any telegrams or letters or anything, or phones or things like that. So then she came and told me. They called me in, and she was there. Told me the bad news, and it was devastating.
Right.
Very devastating. And so the same, I didn't travel the same day. We made arrangements, but then I didn't even have money. But then that school was going to provide. So I made arrangements that I would travel maybe the following day. And they said, okay, it doesn't matter whether it's true or not. It's best you travel, and then if it's not true, you find out, and that's good. That will be good news. Because my aunt was saying, no, I know her names. I know, and they used all the 3 names. It can't be a coincidence.
Right.
So it could be her, but if it's not her, at least then we know. But then we didn't have phones. Remember, we didn't have phones to phone. It's where at the village, in town, yes, there were some phones that you could phone people in town. But to get in touch with my uncle in the village, I had to write a letter, which took almost 2 weeks or so. So it was easier to travel, which took 2 days, than to wait for a letter. So anyway, I traveled, and when I got there, for sure, she had passed. So when I asked them, no one was like, oh, we thought they told you, and someone was like, we thought they told you, but why didn't you have a meeting to say definitely who's going to have to bear this, who's going to tell, this message to somebody at school? Just like that.
Right.
So anyway, they did apologize, and then we moved on. I went back to school. Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So that was really very devastating news. So you went back to school and continued with your second grade, the next grades of your secondary school. I think you were getting to grade 11 by then, so.
I was in grade 11, yeah. And that was first term, yeah.
Yeah, first term. Now, I know from what I gather is that I think a few things happened there between grade 10, so between grade 11 and grade 12, your final year of our secondary school. Could you just tell us how you managed, through the struggle in terms of the funding, and also, what role did the school actually play in order for you to complete your secondary school?
Yeah, so anyway, I went back for holidays in... that was the first time when I went to the funeral. So when we used to go we used to go on holidays on April. So I didn't go back in April. I stayed within Kasemba with my auntie, Mrs. Wendawai, and then went back to school beginning of second term. And I told my uncle that I will need money for second term. He had said, yeah, that's fine. So I was hoping by the time I get home to school, they'll have sent the money. So when I got there, they had not sent the money at all.
Right.
So anyway, my head teacher arranged for some bursaries, because we have to do something about the bursaries, because we don't know whether they continue paying for you at this. No, actually, no. I went home. I went home. because
Mhm.
I wanted to go and see my siblings. So I got there, and when I got there, when it was time to come back to school, I asked for money from all my relatives, my uncles from my father's side.
Mhm.
They said, "Oh, your mother's side will sort it out." They
Mm.
were all not taking responsibility. No one was willing to sponsor me. So anyway, my grandma then was still there, my maternal grandma, and
Right.
she had some money, but the money she had was just enough for transport,
Mhm.
nothing else. And that transport, I had to walk from Mazabuka, where we were living, from Hanjarika to Magoye to get a train to Kitwe. If I got
That's about 15 miles, 15 kilometers or so.
yeah, about 15 kilometers, yeah. So I had to walk with my cousins helping me with the bags. So if I got there were some cars we used to use, some lifts to get to Magoye. If I used any money, I wasn't going to manage to get from Magoye to Kitwe. So that's why I had to walk. So anyway, I walked that distance with my cousins. It wasn't bad because we were just walking and joking and we just loved it all.
Right.
But bear in mind, no one gave me money for boarding school. Nothing.
Mm.
Not even pocket money or anything. All I had was just a little money from my grandma, which she was tying around her chitenge. You know, those wrappers, we call them chitenges. So she would tie them around the corner there. So she gave me that money. I don't even know, she didn't even know how much it was, but she said, "Here you go, use it." So then I went, got a train and managed to get, the money was just enough to get me to school.
Mhm.
I go to school and I go straight to my head teacher's office.
Mhm.
And I tell him to say, "You know what, I've come all the way
Mhm.
and no one has given me money." My uncle had said, "I will send you money in 2 weeks' time." That's what he had promised,
Right.
after I cried and so on and so on. He said, "You go, I'll send you money. I have to look for some money, I'll send you 2 weeks."
Mhm.
So I told my headmaster to say, my headmaster is called Miss Antaimo.
Mhm.
Yeah. So I told him, say, I don't have any money. And if you have to send me home, you're going to have to give me money because I don't even have transport money to get
Right.
me back home.
Right.
He looked at me and said, "Yeah, you serious?" I said, "Yeah, I'm serious. I just can't." You could see the big man in tears, like, "You know what, go to your room, go to your room." So that's how I went to my room. I said, "But my uncle has promised to send some money after 2 weeks."
Mhm.
So I said, "Okay." So I said, "But what about the other things? Like, when you're going to boarding school, you need some soap, some lotion, some washing up, powder for your clothes,
Mhm.
and other essentials, books, and so on."
Right.
So he asked me whether I had any of those. I said, "No, I'll have them when he sends the money." He said he'll send extra. But then, so what I learned from there, sometimes when you're in a position of power, you got to have a heart as well for the people that you're looking after.
Right.
That's what I learned from my headmaster. He had that, passionate for all the girls that he looked after at Mutili Girls.
Mm.
Because I didn't ask for the surprise. When I went to the room, I went there and in the evening, the wife came and brought me some soap
Mhm.
and, some books as well and things that I didn't even ask for. All he asked was, "Do you have, a surprise?" And I told him they were going to come in 2 weeks. But then he used his, obviously he went and spoke to his wife and they did that to me. It was very, very appreciative anyway.
Right.
So yeah, I stayed there. After 2 weeks, there was nothing, no communication, nothing. Like I said, we didn't have phones then. I couldn't even phone my uncle to say what's happening.
Mhm.
We said, okay. So my headmaster said, "Let's wait for another week and see if there will be something."
Mm.
There was nothing. The whole month, nothing. So he just said, "Okay, I'll sort it out." I don't know how it used to work because I can't speculate. But then at that time, I know that no one sent me money,
Right.
boarding school or anything.
Mhm.
That was the second term of grade 11.
Mm.
And then the other thing which was heartbreaking was, when you are in boarding school at the end of the term. Sorry, I cry all the time. I remember these things.
Mm. Sorry about that.
So anyway, at the end of the term in boarding school, you all look forward to go home,
Mm.
to go and see your parents or any relative, siblings or whatever.
Mm.
So there we And we used to sing a lot, and towards the end of the term, we'd sing, we are going home, and it's an exciting thing. You've been away from your house, from your parents and relatives for 3 months in boarding school, and you're young. So when it's time to go, everyone is excited, and that was the mood. Everyone is excited, but somebody has to send you transport money, and a week before going, there was nothing, quiet. I didn't have transport money. No one had got in touch with me. Nothing. Like I never existed.
Oh, sorry.
So I was very hopeful. Just maybe by Thursday. We're all leaving by Friday. I was very hopeful by Thursday. A miracle happened. I wanted to go home. But nothing happened. So anyway, lucky enough, because we lived in Kasemba, it wasn't far. It's somewhere we could walk. So I said to my head teacher, I said, it's fine, I'll walk to Kasemba. I'll go to Kasemba. Mukinge is within Kasemba. So I said, I'll just go. I've got my aunties and other friends to my mom. They'll look after me. I said, oh, that's fine. So we made arrangement. The school transport anyway took me, and lucky enough, Mrs. Mendabai was there. And she welcomed me, and everything was fine, and we stayed. And immediately I wrote a lot of my other uncles that I knew. I had one uncle in Serenje. He was a teacher. I wrote to them to say, no one sent me transport money. Can somebody volunteer to at least pay for me? Because even, my other uncle had promised to pay for me. No one paid for my boarding school. And I don't know, it's God's miracle that they didn't send me home. So can somebody do something this time, please? So anyway, I stayed at my aunt there. The whole term finished, and nothing came forth. No one got back to me, and it was the same thing. And just when you have faith and you're determined, there again I go back to school.
Right.
And this time I just told my headmaster, to be honest with you, no one has even made a promise this time. At least that time they made a promise, although they never did it. They made a promise, but this time no one made a promise. No one got in touch with me. But this time, Mrs. Mendabai had given me all the supplies for, that I needed as a girl, and some pocket money. But obviously, she couldn't afford as well. She had a family. She couldn't afford to pay my boarding school. It was quite dear by then. So when I got there, my headmaster said, "No, we need a payment solution. I think we know that it's not gonna happen. No one is gonna pay for you. So I arranged for a bursary, and this is how it works." So he arranged. I said, "You have to sit for an exam." Because they have to justify why they should give you. So, and then there were other students also who were struggling. Because that exam is a competitive exam, so I can't just give it to you on your own. Because you're not competing with anyone. So I have to get about 5 people. So it's up to you. You have to work hard. So we got 5 people, and they were just going to sponsor 2 out of 5. So those who were struggling, who we knew were also in financial problems. So I came and I did that exam, and thank God I passed that exam, and offered to sponsor me for the rest of the government offered to sponsor me for the rest of my education up to grade 12, and they also offered to buy books, but then the essentials I had to provide, things like transport. Still, I had to provide.
Yeah.
So that was the 3rd term of grade 11. So I managed to finish through. So then. One of my uncles, actually it was Mrs. Mandaba, I said, "No, I've got some money this time. You haven't seen your siblings for a long time, so you need to go with siblings in the, back home."
Yeah.
So I traveled in December, the holiday of December. Got home. It was very nice because I had not seen them. And, my grandma was still there then, and she was looking after them very well. And our little brother was only 5 or so, 4. And he was happy to see me, and we just had a good time. I saw my siblings, all my siblings were there. But then my other sister my immediate sister was also in a boarding school, so we met. And even my brother, so it was like a complete family. Some were being looked after by somebody else, but when they had come, they all brought them back. So we're like a full, complete family, and grandma looked after us, and my uncle, on my mom's side. So that was nice. So we stayed there, and now then the struggle starts again. It's towards the end of the the term holiday, so I need to go back again, going to grade 12. So at this particular time now, my uncle had enough. I've just had enough of you, just bothering when you're a girl. There's so many people that can marry you around. Why do you have to bother? So anyway, so he had made up his mind with some people that he knew who had some handsome boys. To say, what, this girl, get her out of the misery. She keeps going to school and she's got no money and so on. No one's going to sponsor her. There's no point. And so they had made some arrangements, and they used to have some meetings. I used to see some people coming, having some meetings. When they have a meeting
about you,
and then you're not invited in that meeting.
Right.
So they were having those, peculiar, some people coming in and out, and But then grandma was involved in those meetings. Oh, I miss my grandma. She was lovely, So she was involved in those meetings, and she was a very clever woman. I think I've taken over after her. She was listening and she was supporting them. Yes, I think she needs to get married. Yes, she's saying yes. And then behind the back, she's making a good plan. She's going around gathering little monies there and there, gathering little money. And then, traditionally there's something they call, they can just come on a night and take you away and take you to whoever wants to marry you. So they already planned that day and so on. Grandma said, yeah. She wasn't missing those meetings.
Tonight is a night.
Yeah. She wasn't missing those meetings because she had a plan. So anyway, she called me on the side to say, something is happening on Sunday night, and I'll tell you in future. But let me tell you now, they want to marry you off. So I'm going to arrange by Friday you are leaving, and this is how it's going to happen. You never find out. This is the money, and I've already arranged somebody. There was somebody in Mazabuka. It was a distant cousin to my mom. So you guys spend the night there. She knows about everything. She'll keep you there until you're ready to go to Mazabuka, to go to school, and she'll top up the money. So that's how we arranged. And that day came at night. Again, we had to walk because there was no transport on the night. We didn't wait for those lifts. And if we waited for those lifts, they would have seen us. Where's she going? So anyway, at night, my cousins played a big role as well. They again escorted me. Off we went in the night, and my grandma was just quiet. Off we went in the night, and in the morning we got to Magoye, and I got a lift to get to Mazabuka, and my auntie, a cousin to my mom, was waiting. So I got there, and she said, "Oh, I know about everything." I think she had traveled, and then I knew all the arrangements. So I waited, I think it was just a week or so, and I got on a train to Kitwe to go back to school.
Nice.
So when they were back home there, and my grandma was being asked, "Where's the girl?" I don't know what has happened. And she was like blaming them. Make sure nothing happens to her. Make sure nothing happens because I want her to be. That's my only child I have. She's my child. She was performing. And my uncle didn't know. Let me tell you something. Women get outsmart anyone. And she performed, and she told me afterwards when I came back, and they were like looking for me, looking everywhere. And I said, being her, she's very clever. She must have had wind. I think she's gone to school. I think she'll be safe. If she's not safe, we'll hear. Because she knew I was safe, so she didn't even panic. And that's how everything ended. I got to school, and that was first term of grade 12. And my grandma told me, unless something happens to me, don't come back. I'll look after your siblings. And that's what happened. I never went back. The only time I went back was to a funeral. Right. Sad. And so I never went back because I knew that if I ever went back, they'll continue with their plans. So when I got there in April again, I didn't mind whether they sent me money or whatever. I knew I would just go and stay with my aunt in Kasemba, Mrs. Mandawai. So it just became a routine, and so I would go and stay there. I wait for the term to finish. To end, and then I'd go back to school, and that's how it continued until I completed my grade 12. So that's when I traveled back home.
Okay. Thank you. That was a really very unfortunate situation, and it's good that at least grandma played quite a very important and significant role there. Now, tell me about you finished school, your secondary school, and you had very, very good results. You did very well. You are a clever woman. Now,
Thank you.
Yeah, so how did you manage for the next stage of your education? And you found yourself actually studying nursing, So how did you get to go and study nursing?
Anyway, I had never. Nursing was not my career of choice from the time I was young. I wanted to do other things. My dad was an accountant, and I was very good with numbers, and he had always said, "You're going to be an accountant," and so on. And that's what I wanted to do all my life. But then sometimes things don't just work the way it does. So when I went to, during the holiday after grade 12, I was at the village with my on my mom's side. That's what I was staying. So my other grandma, as we have lots of grandmas, I would say cousin to my grandma, came to visit and said, "Oh, you need to go to Lusaka and stay with my uncle Ming. Go and stay with your uncles. If you stay here, it will be difficult to find any courses." And she had just come from Lusaka. Said, "Actually, we're talking about you." He was asking about you, and I told him that you completed and you told me the results were good, and he wants you to go to Lusaka. I said, "Yeah, I'll travel." So within like 2 weeks, I traveled to Lusaka, and when I got there, my uncle said, "Oh, you need to apply for nursing." Yes, yeah. I've got some friends of mine who are nurses, and it's a good career. And I was talking to them, and so I said, "I've never considered to be a nurse, but So I applied to do nursing at UTH. So I sit in there, and that was about January, mid-January, term that already started.
Right.
So I sent the application, the principal looked at them and said, "Oh my gosh, these are very good results. Does she want to do anything else apart from nursing?" So my uncle was like, no, she just wants to do nursing. Said, we have already started here, but I've got a friend of mine in Mufrida. I would want this girl to go and do nursing in Mufrida. It's a better school, and they put better facilities than us here. She's very, very clever. Blah, blah, blah. She was just impressed with my results. So anyway, she made a call and everything. But by the time we do all the arrangements, they had already interviewed for July intake.
I think your camera just stepped down. Can you check your book behind there?
Okay.
Yeah, that's
better.
That's better now. Yeah.
Yeah. So the interviews for July intake was already done, and they already had the numbers that they wanted. So she said to her, "I'm just going to put her on waiting list. If somebody doesn't come, who've already given a place to, then we can get in touch with her." Because I waited, and for sure by end of June, she got back to the other principal in UTH. Say, that girl you're talking about who wants to do nursing, is she still interested? So then she had to get in touch with my uncle, and I said, "Yeah, I'm still interested." He said, "You can let her come." So that's how I traveled and went to Mufrida School of Nursing. So actually, I didn't apply for Mufrida School of Nursing. I applied to do nursing at UTH, but the one who recommended me there. And I thank God that I had a good experience at Mufrida School of Nursing.
Right. Okay. So I guess you finished your nursing school there at Mufrida, which was good and well-funded school, funded by the mine. So what happened? You graduated there, and then you were sponsored, and then you got a job with the Changa division of ZCCM. So could you just tell us a little bit more about that journey, please?
Yeah, so fortunately enough, the way things work, I believe God works in miracles all the time, and He puts people in place all the time that will help you. So, for example, the way I've explained, the people that I met, there's a reason why my mom was a best friend to Mrs. Mandebai. She helped me through. And then looking at Mkia girls as well, I met a very good headmaster who was very helpful as well, because Sam would have not done what he did to help me get the bursary and just to continue. And then the way I got the School of Nursing at Mufri as well, when I had applied at UTH, all that worked well. So when we went to Mufri School of Nursing, by then it was free. Nursing was free, and we even used to get a small amount of salary for being trainees. And that was good, because if it was a course where I had to pay, I was going to struggle, because there was no one who was going to help me unless I had to go through the government if I had to pay anything for my school. But because it was free, that was very good. So, and I enjoyed the course so much. I did very well.
Okay. Right. So when you look at your struggles and your success, what do you think could be your proudest moment in your life?
I think my proudest moment was when nursing graduation. When we graduated, I was the best practical nurse. So that was very, very good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I know you've gone through a lot in life, and now there are a lot of young girls, struggling around, probably wanting to get married, or they want to be married, not because they want to, but they are forced because of circumstances. What would be your advice to those young girls who are actually pressurized to get into a marriage relationship, even when they still want to proceed with their careers?
What I would do as a girl, I think you need to be determined. You set your own goals, and then whatever happens, if you've got goals in life, if you want to be somebody in life, you've got to stick to those goals. People may try to do sometimes it's not, we wouldn't blame them, because that's their culture. They may not know what your plans are, so they are trying to put their plans on you. For example, some cultures, they just think girls are there to be married off, but if you are determined, you want to be somebody, you have a career in your head, you just have to continue and soldier on. And like I said, in most cases, there are people around who help you. It's just about doing whatever you want to do, work hard, and just, that's what the other thing I wanted to say. If I wasn't what can I say? If I wasn't doing well in school, I don't think my headmaster would have even bothered to say, let's find bursary. It's because he knew I had the potential. So if you know that you can do well, read and just continue working hard, and people will help you in that way.
Okay, thank you very much. Now, you finished your nursing, and then in terms of your education, what next step did you take? I know you are now living in the United Kingdom here. So you went to do your BSc in nursing. Could you take us through again? How did you get the influence, or how did you get interested to go and do your BSc, and then also your masters, and then also your professional teaching, because you're a lecturer as well by at the current situation. So could you just give us a little summary of the journey to where you are as of now?
Yeah, so I would say I'm somebody who likes studying. I've always liked studying, and when we came here, we all had, in Zambia, we did 3 years of nursing, but we were given diplomas. But when we came here, we had an opportunity to upgrade into degrees. So immediately when I came here and discovered that I can do that, I went for the opportunity, and I did my degree in nursing. And after a year or so, I went ahead and did a master's in nursing. So when I finished doing the master's in nursing, I thought, what am I going to do with the master's in nursing? So I had a choice, either work in a bedside or do something else. So I discovered that I can do teaching. So I went and did another course in lifelong teaching. It's called lifelong education. So I did another master's in that, so that you can become, you can lecture. You can lecture in college or in university. So the choice is yours.
Okay. So currently, you are doing your profession, and Could you just tell me what changes have you seen, particularly in the environment of the hospital? Because you interact with the students, you interact with the nurses, you interact with the patients, and what changes have you seen in the recent years that you didn't see when you graduated as a first time nurse?
Okay, obviously, when I graduated, I worked in Zambia for I think a year or two, and then I moved to Botswana. So it's difficult to compare because everything is a bit different. But when I worked in Zambia, we had I worked in the mines, in the mine hospitals. So I think I had the best career there. We literally just were playing, we were not working. I would say that. So if anyone is listening, work for the mines. Until I came here, that's what I noticed. That here there's work. You work for your money. I can give you an example of the mines. The mines, when you worked for the mines, the shifts we did were very short. So you'd go in the morning at 7 o'clock and finish a shift at 1 o'clock. At 7 o'clock in the morning, the bus came to your house to pick you, to take you to work. You finished at 1 o'clock, the bus brought you from work at 1 o'clock to come and drop you at home. That's how good it was working for the mines. And they provided almost everything, accommodation, for, as long as you were a nurse, and other incentives that we had. And I didn't experience any, and everything, we had all the medication, all the things that we needed, the equipment we needed in nursing. So I've never worked in a government hospital in Zambia, so I wouldn't compare any. And then I went to Botswana. Botswana, I also worked in a private hospital. So it was also another private thing. We had fewer patients. So we had, for example, per nurse, the maximum we had was 4 nurses, because they were all paying, so they needed all the attention that we had to give them. And Botswana was the first time that I ever worked a long day, where you go in the morning at 7 o'clock and finish a shift at 7:30, 12-hour shift. That was the first time it was introduced to me. In Zambia, we never did long shifts. And then when we came here, the first time I came here in the UK, I worked in a nursing home. That was a strange thing as well, because I'd never seen a nursing home before. We don't have nursing homes in Zambia, so I'd never seen a nursing home before. And but I enjoyed the work because it was something new. It was challenging. I had to learn most of the things, but we managed, and I loved it until after my contract. Then I joined the NHS, and that was another different thing from the nursing that I was doing previously. We found the long days as well in NHS. Everything was different, but I would say, all in all, although nursing wasn't the first thing that I wanted to do when I was young, be an accountant, but the moment I started doing nursing, I loved it. I loved it, and I had a calling. I knew that this is what I'm called to do. And even if I did some lecturing in between, I never stopped being a nurse.
Right.
So I'm still a nurse. I'm a nurse, and I think I'll die a nurse. I love being a nurse. I love, caring for people.
Right. Okay. Now, when in life have you felt so lonely, Jubilee?
I was lonely when I left Botswana to come to the UK. I left Botswana in December. I still remember it was the 17th of December, 2001, and landed here 18th of December. And the day I came, it was dark, it was cold, and everything was not what I saw in pictures. When you look at UK, you look at the pictures of green. So where's the greenery that I see? Because I didn't understand the climate by then. And it was very dark when it was only 3 o'clock.
Right.
So I was very lonely. I missed, but then I had the boys were very young, 3 and 5, 3 and 6. So I missed them, and then I also missed my husband. So I was very lonely.
Okay. Now, Jubilee, what do you want to be remembered with if you are, you are to rest today?
I want to remember the lady who was so compassionate. Yeah. I love people, and I love children as well. I love to be with human beings all the time. I'm caring. So I want people to remember me for my caring attitude. I know most of the time we have some challenging things that we go through, but I'm somebody who always looks after other people and always thinking of making other people's life better than
Yeah.
mine.
Yeah.
And when it comes to children, I don't know what it is in me. Even when we travel, you can ask my husband, he can tell you that. Strange children just look at me and they're crying to come to me. And some women are so good, they let them come and they sit on my laps. So I even joked to him, I said, I was running out from children and look, they found me. He just followed me everywhere. But I love people and I'm so compassionate and I always think about people and how I can make their lives better.
Okay. So in life, what lessons have you learned so far from your struggles?
So what I've learned in life is, especially young ones, I love young ones. I love the youth. As adults, we should never look down on young ones, because we think she will amount to nothing, he will amount to nothing, but that's a lie. You know, if every person was created with a gift in them, and that gift is suppressed because people don't help other people to develop those gifts that they have. You know? So if I didn't have people that helped me to develop my gift that I have, it was going to be suppressed. Yeah, you go and just do a career that you go and settle in a life that wasn't meant for you because no one was willing to help you. So when we see children suffering, and for record's sake, my husband and I have sponsored lots of children. If we were to make a classroom, it would be a full classroom, because that's what we believe, that the young ones are the future. For if you develop the young ones, you're developing everyone in future. They'll be the leaders. So I believe that let's not look down on young ones and help them. Those who are willing. I know you can't help everyone, but you have to try. We have helped lots of people, and it's up to them. If they find they can't go ahead and develop, it means that's their potential. But those who've got potential to develop, through your help, they can develop and they can get to where they're going.
Okay. So now, obviously, Jubilee, you are coming to your birthday, which is a very big 0. Now, could you do you have any regrets so far?
No, I don't have any regrets. I don't have any regrets. I'm so thankful. Whatever I chose to do worked out for me. Some things are hard to do, but still, when you put your mind to it, you gain whatever you want. They say the only regret you have is when you get to the end of your life, or when you're about 90. The only thing that you regret is the things that you didn't do. So far, whatever I've planned to do, I've done them. I've tried them. There's no such thing as failing. It's just that thing didn't work out, and then you try something else. So I don't have a regret, because I don't look back and say, I wish I did that. Whatever I wanted to do within my means, I did it. So I've got no regrets.
Okay. So if you had to hold anything in memory, what would that be?
If I had to hold something in memory,
yes.
Just the people that I've met around as I'm growing up. So, and having a lovely husband and my lovely boys who are now men. So that's a very good memory that I have.
Okay. Obviously, looking at your struggle, you seem to have some spiritual, inclination. Do you believe in God? Do you associate with any religion that has propelled you to be where you are now, or is just a mere coincidence or a mere hard working of Jubilee?
No, I believe in God. And I know, like I've told you, that everything that I went through, I know that God had put somebody who helped me, and He had strategically put somebody to help me all the time. All the corners that I went through, there was somebody standing there to help me, and I believe that God put them there. And I believe that God helps me all the time. I believe in God.
Okay, very good. So now, you are a professional, you are a nurse, you are a lecturer, you are a businesswoman. Now, if you were to advise, young people who want to begin in careers, and as you know, Zunda Channel is actually the main purpose of Zunda Channel is actually to inspire young people who are starting up in careers. What would be your final advice to that young girl, that young man who is actually struggling in life, so that they can have a step, towards a career of some kind?
I would say don't give up. Don't give up. Keep going. Whatever career that you're doing, sometimes it's very hard, but just know that, once you're determined, you can do whatever you want. Don't give up. Because the moment you give up, this is when you get to your age, you get to 50 or 60, and then you have things to regret about. So in life, make memories and work hard so that you don't have anything to look back and say, I wish I did that. So it's better to do that thing and then you don't succeed, rather than growing up and looking back and say, I wish I did that. That's when you find people get to the end of their life and thinking, wow, I wish I'd done that.
Right. Okay. And finally, do you like traveling, and which places have you visited, if at all you like traveling?
Yeah, I enjoy traveling. We've visited lots of places actually. We traveled a lot with my husband, and as a family, we did travel a lot. So there are places like Canada, USA, Australia, New Zealand, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Botswana, South Africa. Just to mention a few. Within Europe as well.
Okay. Now, thank you very much. Now, what would be your final words? Try to help on this channel. What would be your final words to that young person?
What I can say to anyone, that there's no one who stops you from doing anything. The worst enemy is yourself. Yeah. So if you keep up with yourself and just be determined in whatever you do, you will succeed. But the moment you start listening to people and you've got no footing at all, you just go with the wind. Whoever comes and tells you need to do this, and you go with them. Most of the time people will give you advice, and then you ask them, have you done it yourself? And then they say that they haven't. So you think, what are you basing your advice on if you've never done it before? I can give you an example of teaching. When I wanted to do my teaching, I applied for the course, and I spoke to a few friends and told them I was going to be a teacher. They said, why are you doing it for? No one is ever going to give you a job. Of course, I've got an accent, and I'm very proud of this accent. I don't want to make an effort to change my accent for nothing else, because I was born with it. If you're born here, yes, you have an accent, or you came here when you're young. But, if I'm going to change accents, so it meant I've changed an accent when I went to Botswana. Go somewhere else, you change an accent. How many times are you going to change an accent? So I have maintained my accent for a reason. I'm Tonga, from southern province of Zambia. So anyway, so that's what they were telling me, that no one will hire you because you've got an accent. But I didn't listen to them. I did the teaching, and people put words in your mind and they put the fear in you. So even when I went to attend the interview, because I was the only black person in the UK at that time, when I went to attend those interviews with about 6 other ladies who were white. So automatically, because people were already putting fear in me, I had already written myself out. I'm like, oh, I'm not going to make it. I remember telling my husband when I came back from an interview, say, oh, it's fine. I attended the interview. It's just for learning purposes. I don't think I'll get it. But when they phoned me to say you got the job, I'm like, what? How did I get the job? It's because, sometimes the mind will work on you because of what people feed, what we feed from others. So if you've got a vision, it's your vision. You hide it from people.
Right.
You don't go showing your vision to everyone. That's what I've learned in life. The moment you start telling everyone your vision, they will discourage you so much. Even whatever you're doing, just do it until people should see the results. If you share your vision immediately when you're just conceiving it, just like a pregnancy, you don't just share the pregnancy in the first week. People will see it. Oh, okay, something is happening. They are going to have a baby. By the time you share, maybe you're already gone. So it's the same with the vision. When you conceive the vision, when you have that vision, so you're going to do something, Keep it yourself. If you have to share it, share it with people that are very, close to you.
Okay, thank you very much. And I guess you've got a family. You've got a family. Can you just maybe 1 second, 2 seconds about your family? You've got a family, isn't it?
Yes, I've got a family. Yeah, I'm married to Jackson, my husband, and then I've got Leandro. That's our first child, and Malindi, second child, and Leandro's got a fiancé, and they've got a child, Theodore. So I'm a grandma as well. And then I've got my sisters. I've got 4 sisters and a brother, and lots of cousins.
Okay. Right, here you are, subscribers and viewers. This has been Zunda Channel. This has been an exclusive Zunda Channel interview with Jubilee, who is a very successful career woman. She's a business person as well, and very, very intelligent woman as well. So I hope we are going to, inspire the young people that we help around, so that they can get, to understand a little bit about careers in nursing and, other aspect of health. Thank you very much, Jubilee, for agreeing to attend to us today. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching. Remember to subscribe to this channel so that you can get notification when new videos are released. And if you are interested to take part in this program, contact us at recording@zundachannel.com.